me the rash. We're back with a blast from the past. So what we have here is a 1955. Actually, the gearbox and the back axle is dated 25th of June 1955. So it landed to me 70 years later. And I don't know, is that a coincidence or not? But we're gonna give it the going over it needs and deserves. I suppose it's been around long enough. So gonna just give a quick introduction video here to it. The work lamp on there just to get a bit more light. So alternator, and as I explained it to the owner, they're grand and all. They do a good job and they're reliable, and they do away with the need for a voltage regulator, because an alternator kind of means alternating current, doesn't it? I think something to do with AC and DC and all of that crack. But anyway, the bottom line is it regulates as well. But the issue you have with them is the pulley is always too narrow. And if you look up to the water pump there, what it does is it ends up wearing the pulley up there, and eventually it doesn't spin the water pump as fast as the engine crank pulley should be spinning it. In other words, it slips, and it's at a bit of an angle there, or at a bit of a scow, as they say. So, and there's something going on here with levels here as well. It's a little bit out of kilter. So I think what we're planning to do is to go back to a dynamo and a voltage regulator. This is an aftermarket carb, and I think the route we're going is an original Zenith 24 T2 carb for a TVO. So I'm making inquiries already. I was just having a scratch in around there where they normally crack, and I'm happy to say it doesn't have a cracked block, and we're just able to see as well there that the engine was made on the 1st of April 1955. The rear end was 25th of the 6th, 55. So there you go. I think on the 35 Gold Belly they actually have a date on the gearbox as well, because I know my own one is, and it's upside down. That usually means night shift. But yeah, that's that side of things. So front axle pin is definitely going to have to be done in this. It's wibbly wobbly wonder, no fault of its own. Just they're a fair age at this stage of the game. I like the headlamps, I like the shape of them. They're a little bit more kind of shapely. I think it's Offaly Reg, IOR, County Offaly in Ireland. It's a nice silencer on it as well. Interested to see how it sounds. It's a big silencer. I'll have to take out some free play in this steering column, so off with that, off the steering wheel, and then there's 2 lock nuts, and we'll tighten up the inside one, grease everything up. It's a roller taper bearing, so it's on a cone, and the more you tighten it, the more it takes out. There's a little bit there, so we're going to do that. We're going to try and get this starting off the S here, so the way it should be. So it's going to involve a new starter switch, because that one is well and truly past the sell by date. Brakes, doesn't look like a whole lot's happening here. This is lifting, but it's not turning the cross shaft, so a bit of an adjustment, whereas the other side seems to be doing that. But the brakes would be a little bit limited, I'd say, because of the axle seals leaking. So common fault. Has the original stubby PTO shaft, I noticed there, so you can get an extender for that. An adapter just makes it longer and a bit wider, and that fits all your modern PTO attachments. He said the lift isn't working, so we'll have to take a look at that. A lot of the time it's just the valve in the bottom of the hydraulic pump. So that's about it for this side. We're going to be doing all the usual checks. Oh yeah. So it could just be an adjustment, could need new bearings, doesn't matter. whatever it needs it'll be getting, because that's important. Nice tyres front and back, really nice tyres. I like the shape on these, they're lovely. What make are they? Firestone. Ooh, very nice, very nice. I tried to get Firestone for my own 20 diesel and I couldn't get them anymore. They're a really nice front tyre, I like them now. So there we are on this side of things. I'm just going to lift the bonnet here and have a look. I took the battery out and that's on trickle charge there for, I'm going to leave it on for a good while. It'll slowly clean it out, all the sulphur that builds up. So we can buy these proper air breather rubber hose pipes. That's just something that's poking roughly in the area there, so we'll get the right one for that. There's a few switches going on here and there and over there, so we'll try and get it back to factory. So the charge light would have originally been in there. This would have been the original water temperature gauge, so when I went up towards 80 or whatever, he knew it was time to turn it over to the TVO. This is an original AC. I think these, if I'm not mistaken, run a little bit later, but I've seen them on the Fergusons as well, but it isn't working because this is the bit, the wire there, and that's full of wax, so that goes down to the thermostat housing. So we'll just lift over the work lamp here. Thermostat housing isn't, I've been scraping away at it there, it's not in the best of nick, sorry about the flashing. So I have a good one there, and it has the probe, the threads for the probe where they go in are all good, so definitely just use that. They get et with antifreeze and stuff over the years and they get crumbly and it's leaking and all of that, and we're definitely not going to be able to get the probe out. I'll move the work lamp over the other side and I'll show you what's going on over there. I think that's probably all. I'm going to look into getting the radiator cowling or shroud. Should just be a matter of 1, 2, 3 screws each side, boom, straight on. It's the original Coventry radiator. I've filled it up with water and it is leaking there, and I think it could be leaking at the back of the cylinder head here where there's a plate. You can just see there, they usually leak, so we'll have to just take that off, flatten it, make a good gasket, all of that kind of stuff. We'll adjust out some free play out of the steering box if there is, don't feel too bad. That rattling that we're hearing, I'll show you what that is on the other side. Apart from the front axle pin, there's a little issue on the front that we should be able to sort easy enough. So I think that's about it. It's a lovely original air filter like that, and the intake pipe, nice to see that as well. And it's also nice to see the pipe to the carb, because they're getting hard to buy in this country. I usually have to buy them in England, so that's getting very expensive bringing things over. But apart from that, the tank is in excellent condition inside. Excellent condition. It's a lovely dry tank, solid. Definitely a lovely part, so that should cause no issues at all. So we'll have a look at the tap. It looks like we might need to tighten up 1 or 2 things there to get that sorted. Apart from that, so it is going to be a half shafts out job on both sides to get the axle seals, and we'll go through the brakes as well, and we'll do anything that's needed. But apart from that, on this side, I think we'll move over the other side now and give you a look at the electrical side of things. Okay, so this is how they were starting the tractor. They're using this pull kind of a switch here. Originally, if you look in there, you can see the original starter switch, or definitely a very old one. So all that has to come out. All the wires are coming off. The voltage regulator in there is going to be replaced with a new one. That's a strange bracket. I've never seen that bracket before, because normally you see that kind of a slot there. Normally that would be allowing the wires through from the voltage regulator, and the voltage regulator would actually be attached, if I'm not mistaken, unless that's, yeah, there's a hole just above it there, each side. That's normally where you'd attach the voltage regulator. So I don't know, is that, did some Ferguson 20s come like that? If they did, let me know. It does look like a fairly original bracket, and if it is, we can reuse it, no problem at all. It doesn't look like something that someone has fabricated or made, But that is where a lot of them would have went. But I know they continued that on the Ferguson 20 diesel, having that slot in it as well, even though they fitted them up under here on the Ferguson 20 diesel. So a bit of a leak there. Usually it's just a matter of tightening up the nut and the lock nut behind. We're looking good all around the Banjos, and that's brilliant news, because I can tell you one thing, I had a whole handling trying to get my own one sealed in there. Oh, that's alright. I don't know what that was. I thought it was an old penny. It's actually a fibre washer, but there's actually no harm. I always like to put a bit of rubber in under there. A lot of them crack down there. So we'll get a look at that. We might even try and take some of that paint off there and show off the aisles. We replaced that on the 20 diesel we were working on. We can test the Lucas coil as well. One clip is missing from the distributor. There is more wear in this distributor than I've ever seen in any of them. Let's try and give you a look. So the timer will be jumping all over the place. That's a lot of free play. So there's no way you would ever been able to get it running very good, I'd imagine. That's serious. Like we're talking 20 thousandths of an inch, if not more, even more. Yeah, it's actually savage, but it's okay. That's all just, and that's an original. That's the original. I just cleaned back the paint a bit there. It's the original 5 to 55. So May 55 distributor. And if you look at the part number there, it's 40243E. So towards the end of the production of the 12 volt Ferguson petrol TVO, they started changing from the 40298 to the 40243, and I think it was E they used on the last 2 years, and then they kept that for the Gold Belly 35, and then they eventually changed it to an F in 1957. So for up to 1956, and the end will say they had this distributor. So the difference in this would be the springs in the advanced weights. So we'll match up a distributor and we'll get it fitted. I have some overhauled ones there ready to go. So this is the that is the probe going into the thermostat housing. We're not going to be able to get that out, I would imagine. And the thermostat housing, as you can see, it's just gone beyond use. It's crumbling and it's brittle, and I can guarantee, you can see the back of it there. We try and take out any, probes or anything, that it'll break in half. So I have a good one there. So that is all okay. Radiator, I'm only seeing here there was a bit of patchwork done. If it is holding water, and it is filled up above the level anyway, that's okay. A bit of wire around us holding that in. We might do a bit of liquid metal in there where solder will be, and remove that wire. If that isn't leaking, I'll have to just do a bit of cleaning them down and just making sure that's all okay. If it's dry, we'll leave it be. Apart from that, it is full of water, so if there's any leaks, we'd see them by now. It's going to be a good bit of cleaning down involved in this, which is all right. Spark plugs are NGK, modern kind of substitutes for the Champion N21s. The starter I've dated as a 1946 starter, so it predates the tractor by 9 years. But we'll strip it down and have a look, clean everything up, have a look inside. If not, I have some over on the shelf there that I did up. Not particularly sure why they did. As a whole, similar to that, drilled on the other side as well. Usual story here at the steering box, the seals go, but the best thing to do is suck out the oil and fill it full of grease. Job done. No more leaks, and grease does a better job than oil. So that is all okay. The knuckles there are free, I'm happy to say, because that is a whole handling of a job. The bracket for the starting handle looks like it was broken off there. So if we can find one of them, we'll get one. I have a few starting handles there. They might be nice to be able to start it with the handle, even when the engine's warm. A lot of free play is actually being caused by this bolt here. So we'll remove that and replace it with a new one, or see what I have there. I think they're the same size as the mudguard bolts. Yeah, so that is roughly where we're at. Straight away, I think off with the bonnet, off the tank, flush the tank. It smells like pure varnish, the stuff that's in it, even though it doesn't look bad, but I can tell you it smells bad. Off with the battery tray. We need to start getting down to the likes of in there. Do a nice job on the voltage regulator and all the electrics. Out with the likes of that. Try and get an original style on-off key switch for ignition, charge light. But it's a relic of a thing, I have to say. And it's a privilege working on them, like, really is. They're such a lovely little piece of engineering, and they're so handy, and they're nice to work on. So I'm looking forward to this one. There'll definitely be more videos on this than on the 20 diesel that has just been done, because I think there's just going to be a bit more involved in this one, in a good way, of course. So yeah, that's where we're at. We'll have a look in at the valves. We'll do a compression test, and we'll see what PSI we're getting, and then that'll tell us if we have to lift the head or not. If we're getting good compression, we'll leave it be, and clean up the rocker shaft, all of that crack, the usual stuff. So this is just an introduction, and we'll see you in the next one when we're actually getting stuck in. So we'll talk to you then.